You know, a lot of people consider a boundary like an act of being selfish, but it's self honoring, not selfish. Hey there, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Get Your Rear in Gear with Lori. I'm your host, Lori McAfee, and today this episode is all about the slippery slope of compromise because we live in a world that often expects us to truly join in and enjoy that slope. But today, I hope that I give you permission to get out of that pit and get back on solid ground as uncompromised you. So I want you to imagine this. You live a life that does not align with who you truly are. You constantly find yourself compromising your dreams, your desires, your values, and happiness for the sake of others. And hey, here's the thing. That may not be a life that you have to imagine. It truly may be your life, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so today I want to explore why we compromise ourselves, why it isn't healthy, and how can we break free from these patterns. So hey, buckle up, because here we go. And of course, from time to time, we all have to compromise. Like, that's a natural part of life. But constantly compromising yourself for others or something, that's not fair. And that's not the way life was intended. And compromise shows up in so many different ways. For example, you can be saying yes to something that you really don't want to do just to fit in, or to avoid a conflict, or simply to please someone else. It may be that you've completely let go of your dreams, your desires, your aspirations, and you've settled for what everyone else expects of you. And I see this so often play out after someone's been to college and they have their degree, and it's not what they want to do because they are living and lived and followed someone else's dream for them. And these compromises, they are a gradual slope downward, away from who you are, away from who you were created to be. And it leaves us feeling unfulfilled, exhausted, and completely disconnected from who we are. And C.S. Lewis quoted, "Indeed, the safest road to hell is a gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turning, without milestones, without signposts." Sometimes we find ourselves compromising short term, something short term, satisfaction or gain, and it has long-term consequences on our lives. But again, today, I want to offer you some tips that you can implement to help uncompromise you and to give you that power and that freedom to climb out of that pit and to step on that solid ground. So here's a couple of things that I think are really important when it comes to compromise. And that is, know your values. Know what means the most to you. Take some time, do some self-awareness, and identify those core values. When you clearly understand your values, then it becomes easier to not compromise because we're not going to just settle for mediocrity. And when we compromise things, it actually jeopardizes our character and our integrity. And something else that really struck me was when I found myself in compromising positions. Because here's the thing, you're not alone. If you compromise yourself or have compromised mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually, I have too. It's something that we all do from time to time, but then we find ourselves held completely in bondage. And so when I would agree with something that someone said, or a way someone was doing something that I truly did not agree with, I had this gut feeling I was not right. And I knew I was completely lying about believing them or agreeing with them. It wasn't aligning with who I was. And so then if they would hear me say something that was the opposite of that, I'd be caught in a lie. And so I couldn't be trusted. I was this way here and I was that way there. We've all done it. We've all done it for the sake of trying to fit in. We've all done it for acceptance. We've done it for gain. We've done it for love. We've done it for something in return, a promise of something in return. That is compromising who we are and settling. And when I realized I was doing that, and I couldn't even stand to sometimes hear the things that I even agreed to, I knew it was wrong. And I had to stop. I had to break free from that pattern and wanting to fit in so bad that I was willing to compromise who I truly am. Set boundaries. Boundaries are so critical when it comes to being able to maintain our happiness and our well-being. We need to learn to say no when it doesn't align with who we are, our true, authentic self. And that means that we can prioritize ourselves without guilt. Quick example. We were at a function and I had people on both sides of me, and I knew where I was sitting was going to be the most beneficial for me to get out at the time I needed to, because I knew I had a meeting that I had to attend. And so this one wanted me to sit there. This one was trying to make me feel guilty. This one wanted me to sit there. And I was like, hey, I'm good right where I'm at. Like, I don't have to move. I'm fine. And they kept on and kept on. And the old me would have just given in to not hear them, to make them happy, and to appease what they were pushing so hard for me to do. And I know it sounds so simple and so ridiculous, but I said, I'm fine. And I stayed where I was because I knew what was going to be the best for me and for the people sitting around me, because I'd have to crawl over the top of them to get out when I needed to leave early. So, I was like, hey, you trying to make me feel guilty isn't working, so you can just not do that. And they respected that. But the old me would have given in. And I would have been held like I was in bondage and being held and controlled, and someone trying to control me because I'm willing to compromise. That isn't fair to me. And it really has taken my joy, my happiness, freedom, and peace away. So we have to know our best yes. And we have to communicate that in a kind way so that, we honor the other person, but we honor ourselves as well. And we have to do this consistently. Like when we set a boundary, it's something that we need to stick with. We need to establish and honor our boundaries. A lot of people consider a boundary like an act of being selfish, but it's self-honoring, not selfish. And so I've realized that my boundaries, they are the border of happiness, joy, peace, freedom, life satisfaction. And another thing is passion. What are you passionate about? Was that fire in you put out because someone else didn't want to see it burn? So you let it go away, you let it burn out. Well, somewhere inside you that is still smoldering. And it is time that you reignite that. So pull that dream desire off the shelf and make it happen. You can do what you want to do and set your mind to when you choose to. And it's a choice. And, I truly love what I do. And I love speaking. I love talking with people. I love to see people move to their next level. I love to see a person who loves themselves where they're at while they're working to become better and moving forward. And so that is something that I've always enjoyed. I used to want to be a nurse when I was in the second grade. I remember dressing up like a nurse for career day, and I was so excited to pin that hat on my head as a little girl. I didn't become a nurse, but it wasn't because that was ever put out, that fire was ever put out. It was because of choices that I had made. And so what I was able to do, though, is I was able to help people to gain the smile that they want to and the confidence in who they are by having a pretty smile and by having that confidence that they can go somewhere and be confident in who they are. And so that really, that fulfilled that need for me to be able to help someone to move into that next level and to become who they were created to be. And so, just do what sets your soul on fire and be fearlessly in pursuit of the person that you were created to be, because that burning passion inside you, that is part of your purpose that you were created for, and you're compromising that. When we don't follow those burning passions that we have and desires that we have that we cannot escape, it's still in there. I truly feel like that is part of, we're not fulfilling the purpose that we were created for. And I'm a firm believer that God created all of us for a purpose and for a reason. And we serve a purpose here on earth to do kingdom eternal work. And so last but not least is taking care of yourself. And when I say self-care, I do not mean a spa day. I do not mean getting your nails done. I do not mean curling up with a blanket and Netflix and chill. That is not what I mean. I'm talking about whenever you go for a walk, you take time for yourself. You practice being mindful, and you read scripture and you pray and you journal. It could even be talking to a friend, meeting someone for coffee. That helps us to replenish our energy and helps us to not compromise ourselves for other people. Because when we're constantly pouring out and pouring out and pouring out into other people, we are truly compromising our own self-care. And I saw somewhere the other day, this lady, she had poured her life into so many people and not taken care of herself. And she found herself being admitted into ICU. And we can avoid some of those things whenever we just slow down and we take time for ourselves. We put our phones away and we realize that we need to take care of ourselves. This past Saturday, I sat for about 3 hours outside, just no phone, no music, no book, just enjoying the peace, the quiet, listening to the birds sing, watching the wind blow back and forth, watching the birds fly in and the squirrels climb the trees. It was really good for my soul to sit there and really a self-care moment for me. And I didn't feel guilty and I didn't feel selfish one single bit about it, because when I'm able to recharge myself and I'm able to pour into myself and take care of my needs so that I don't get so run down, I'm able to be there for other people. And the way that I look at this is that when we know who we are and we love ourselves, we're able to be selfless. So we don't compromise ourselves, but we know who we are, we love who we are, and therefore we're able to give so much more, and there's no compromise to it. That's truly who we are. And so I hope that these have helped you to recognize patterns, see where you're at when it comes to compromising who you are and who you were created to be, and that you honor yourself and with true peace, true joy, true freedom. Because the uncompromised you, it's a gift to yourself and it's a gift to others. Because we can't give what we don't possess, y'all. And so empowering the compromised you takes time. It takes effort. It takes commitment. It is not going to happen overnight. Breaking free of these habits and recognizing and breaking free of these patterns of compromise, it's not something that's going to just be, you're going to listen to this and then you're going to be able to do it. It's something that you're going to have to be committed to. You're going to have to practice. And so put these steps into practice. And then this is going to help you to get on the road to living a fulfilled life that aligns with who you truly are, your true self. And it's work and it's commitment. But the peace and the freedom that you gain from truly getting to know your true authentic self and not compromising yourself, it is so worth it. So worth it. So hey y'all, let's get our rears in gear and embrace our uncompromised, authentic self. So that wraps up today's episode of Get Your Rear in Gear with Lori. I hope that you have been inspired so that you may empower the uncompromised, authentic you and break free from those patterns and habits of compromise. And join me next time as we continue on this journey of personal growth, development, and getting our rear in gear to be who we truly were created to be, loving ourselves where we're at, but also moving forward to become the person that we were created to be. Until next time, stay tuned and keep moving forward. Thank you for tuning in to Get Your Rear in Gear with Lori.